Hey Marian, how are you doing?
Good. How's it going?
Good, good. So we indirectly met through Pat Flynn, and I actually listened to your episode with him this past week driving to work. And I would love for you to share actually what you do with your career right now.
Sure. So I'll give I guess the short version of it, because what I do now, it's completely different to compared to what I've done or what I've been started doing in this internet game. So what I do now, in one word, it's essentially I teach, and we also have a done with you component of client acquisition for coaches, consultants, content creators, pretty much everybody that has a brand online. And when I say client acquisition, it can be clients for your group coaching packages, clients for or students for your courses, or clients for your services. Doesn't really matter, what you sell, as long as it has a component of either a phone call or some sort of conversation, and that can be done through, through a video format or whatever it is. So we have a way of teaching the system, and we also have a way of helping you implement this, if that makes sense.
Now, what are some of your client acquisition strategies, or is that what it is, like doing a phone call?
So not necessarily just, so the phone call comes into place if you sell something that is $2,000 and up. Now, if this is not just something, but somebody that is just starting out, and they say, all right, let's assume I'm a health coach, and I just start to acquire my first couple of customers that I have no idea how to do it. So first, we work with them to actually understand, like, number one, who's the ideal customer? Number two, what do they sell? Like, what is exactly the offer, right? Like, because the main difference that a lot of people get confused about is the difference between a product or a service, and then how you bundle it up with bonuses that you can actually create an offer around it to make your competition relevant, to make your potential customers just say like, oh, I want a piece of that, because it's like the offer is just incredible, right? As opposed to just trying to sell, coaching services by hour or by a one-time type of service or product. So some of the client acquisition strategies, like if I would, and I guess you want some tactical stuff, right? So we'll dive into that. We always like to use at a couple platforms, and in this scenario, I'll just focus on YouTube, because that is, I guess, 90% of it. And then the rest would be, Facebook and Instagram, mainly for retargeting purposes. So let's assume, because I said, let's talk about a health coach in this scenario, and how would they sell their services or their coaching packages. So first, we make a list of 5 to 10 competitors. And the reason that we want competitors, because a lot of time I hear this from my clients, like, oh, but I don't have any competitors because what I do is unique. Well, we don't look at competitors as we try to copy them. We look at competitors because if you have competition, it means that people are willing to pay for that type of service, those type of products, books, coaching, courses, whatever the situation may be. So we want to look at competitors because they already proved the model. Unless you have a couple $100,000 in just testing budget, we can test a brand new idea, but is no point to test something completely new if we can look at somebody that has proven the model, and we can just replicate that and make our offer, much better, more appealing to the public and things like that. So we identify 5 to 10 competitors. We look at their YouTube channels, and then we look at their ads. So we go on YouTube, we actually search for those people. We identify their YouTube channels, and then we identify like what's the most popular video on their channel. The reason that we want to do that is we look on the YouTube channel, we see what people want to be known for. The YouTube channel, it's your hub, right? Like, it's something that you want to be known for because the videos live there forever. Like, of course, yeah, you can make them unlisted and things like that, but usually the most popular videos are the ones that either the creator wanted to promote the most, and because they wanted to be known for that. So for example, if we look at, because I just actually did a training about this, and we were looking at Lewis Howes' channel. So his 5 most popular videos were interviews with Tony Robbins, Brendan Bouchard, like, influencers even bigger than him. So what he was using there, he was using audience inception. So because you saw the interviews with of Lewis and those bigger influencers, you now just think like, it just puts it in your mind, like, think about him almost, at the same level that the influencers that he has the interviews with. So we look at the YouTube channels, we identify what are the main the main popular videos that they have, and then we start making a list. We only need about 5 at first. So that's, I guess, the short version of it. We look at the YouTube channels, we identify the 5 most popular videos, and we make a list of them. We look at the titles, we look at the thumbnails, we look at what's the content about, like what are they actually talking about. And then next we go on, I can identify, let me see real quick, what is the URL? I think it's facebook.com library, something like that. Facebook, give me 1 second. I want to make sure I give your audience the exact, so it's facebook.com/ads/library. So what's going to happen if you go there, you're able to type, it's going to be a search tab, and you are able to type everybody's Facebook page, and you'll be able to see all their ads. Like, I know it almost sounds illegal, but for us business owners, or for us marketers, because in this scenario we talk about the marketing strategy behind it, you will see all the ads that those competitors that we identified already are running. So what do we see there? We see things that they pay for ad, like we see all their ads. And more importantly, we want to see a repeatable process. We want to see for how long they be running those ads. Facebook would even tell us when has that ad started to run. So if we see an ad that's been running for 3 months, and we see maybe different creatives of the same ad copy, and then it's the same landing page, because you can actually click on it, and you'll go and you'll be able to see maybe the webinar, you'll see the page that they've been promoting, and you'll see pretty much where they want you to go and check out their products, their services, their books, their courses, whatever they sell. So up until this point, we know a lot of information about what's on the market and what actually works. If they've been paying already for those ads, it means that, number one, they're working and they're profitable, because otherwise they would stop it. Number 2, we know exactly what they say in their ads. We know how the photos or how the videos look like and what they say in it. We are able to see their webinar, what's the sales process behind it. So that, this is also another point in this method that a lot of people miss. They get confused by the sales process versus the sales funnel. So sales funnel is just a component of the sales process, right? Like the ad itself, the video, the creative, and all those, those are part of the actual sales process. So if you sell something that is, let's say it's a group coaching that is $1,000, most likely you're gonna need a webinar to promote it, to sell it, right? Like, you need the sales component of it. So now we see the video, we know what they say, we know where they want us to go, we know how their webinar looks like, we know what they say in the webinar, and for how much they're selling it for. So now it's just a matter of us or our clients replicate and hack. Like, again, we never ever would recommend you or anybody in the audience to copy somebody's creative, or copy somebody's emails or something like that. You can hack it, because now you have so much information. Like, you literally have it served on a silver platter. Like, you know exactly for how much you can sell it. Now, of course, we can say, like, okay, but that person, it's well known, and we're not going to be able to sell the same course for $2,000 if they're selling it for $2,000. Well, cool. Let's just sell it for $1,000. Prove the model that somebody would buy from us, and then just improve the offer over time. So up until this point, we identified pretty much, if we have a list of 5 to 10 competitors, we know, like, who are direct competitors to the client that we want to help. And we pretty much know everything about what's working now and what has been working for the last couple months for that person, right? So then we just start to replicate the process. We create the same or similar videos. We create similar ads, similar pages, similar messaging, but of course, adding the storytelling of the person that's actually putting this together. And the reason that we also looked on their YouTube channel is we also, because a lot of times when you see, especially nowadays, because you get bombarded with so many ads on different platforms, a lot of people will start Google your name, will start do a little more, almost like an investigation on you, on your brand, to see like who you are, what do you actually do? Do you actually have content that could back up what you want to sell? So that's why you also want to create, those 4 to 5 pieces of content on your YouTube channel to actually put the whole, brand together. I don't know if I went too deep in this process, but I get excited about it because it's like we have all the information at our fingertips. We just have to execute on it.
No, I like your passion. So thanks for sharing in that detail. So we studied our competitors, which I didn't know about the ad thing. I knew about keywords, but not about ads. So thank you for that. I'm going to use that. So we figured out our competitors. We're looking at their ads. We are figuring out how to bundle our product. But when it comes to like you as a brand, what would you say makes the perfect brand awareness campaign?
100%. So once we have all of these in place, we first need, usually we recommend to start with 3 to 5 value building pieces of content. And these will be used mainly for Facebook and Instagram. But when I say 3 to 5, if you could put together 3 to 5, 5 to 10 minutes each video. So for example, what you can do if you're a health coach in this scenario, you would say something like, the 3 reasons why you can lose weight are, and then you start explaining the reasons. The number 1 secret that the media doesn't want you to know in your weight loss process is boom, and then you start going after it. Like, you have to really give specific things, especially in the titling, the thumbnails of it. So if you can make 5 to 10 minute videos about all these topics, like you have to attack almost the negative side of it, like why you can't lose weight, for example, or why, if it's a business type of coach, why you can make more profit, why you can make more sales, type of thing. And then on top of that, you also go to create a content around the positives, like the number 1 way for you to, for the number 1 method that you can apply in 5 minutes per day to start losing weight is, right? And then you start talking about that. So if you have those long pieces of content, 5 to 10 minutes, I consider it long, then you can chop. It's easily to chop those into 1 to 3 minute videos for Facebook and then 1 minute for Instagram. So the brand awareness campaign, you just start promoting those videos as an engagement campaign on Facebook without any call to action. Like, it'll be like when you go on Facebook and you start almost like, I hate to say boosted, because if you just use the boost button, it kind of limitates you. You can still get it done, but I would suggest you use the ads manager, and just so you can have more targeting possibilities. But essentially, all those 5 to 10 competitors now become ad sets. So you start the campaign, you promote each of those videos. Let's assume you have 3 to 5, and then each ad set, it can be for as low as $3 to $5 per day. And then each ad set becomes 1 competitor. So 1 competitor is, I don't know, in the health coaching space, maybe Thomas DeLauer or Weight Watchers, or I don't know, like those 5 to 10 competitors should have big audiences on Facebook. Like, when I say competitors, I don't talk about somebody that maybe just started their business last year. You want to go after big people because they already have audiences. They have spent tens, if not hundreds, or in some scenarios, even millions of dollars building those audiences. So might as well we can put our message in front of them. So we promote those videos as an engagement campaign with no calls to action, meaning no URLs, no links in the video. The most thing that you can say is at the end of the video, you can say something like, comment below if you want more videos like this. What you can do, this is almost like a dirty trick. You can use ManyChat to connect these engagement campaigns, and you can still, even though you wouldn't have a call to action, so Facebook will not penalize you in a way that if you put a link in it, it's going to cost you way more. If you just promote it as an engagement campaign, it's super cheap. You can go for as little as $3 to $5 per day and still get hundreds of views on the video. So that's step number one. Step number two is you're going to start creating audiences. So because we have, let's say five different campaigns, each of them engagement, each of the campaign has 5 to almost 10 ads. I don't want to complicate now, and I know it may sound a little tactical, but I hope it makes sense. Those competitors, like I said, become assets. So step number two is you create audiences from people that have started to consume the videos. So you're going to start putting those videos into an audience, and you want to create a minimum of 4 audiences. A video through play, which is 15-second view. So you can create audiences from people that have watched 15 seconds of your video, 25%, 50%, 75%, and I think it's close to like 90% or 95, something like that. So you create those buckets. So what happens now is you're able to show every other video that you create from the, like I said at the beginning, have 3 to 5. The second, the third, the fourth, you're only going to show it to people that have shown interest in the first one. The reason that you want to do that is you don't want to, if you're always going to go after a broad audience, you're never going to be able to convert because it's going to become too expensive. So you keep, you got to go into a hamster wheel that you get trapped because the ad cost goes up so much. So based on those audiences, you just show to the people that have shown interest, you show more videos. So you start almost, this is like a machine. This is I call it the omnipresence machine, because when you get to the third and fourth video, now we can talk about actually, like direct response ads, like, hey, up until this point, you've watched all my content, click below to watch one of my webinars, or click below to watch, right? Not these word for word, but you get the point. What's important is now that person that's going to see the actual direct response ad are gonna feel that they already know, like, and trust you, right? So all this only happens on Facebook and Instagram, like on these 2 platforms. If we take it to YouTube now, because to be honest, this is my most, I guess, it's the most powerful. To be honest, in my opinion, it's way more powerful than Facebook. The reason for that is you can go after keywords. So if I'm a consumer and if I search for how to lose weight, and you are able to put in front of me a video that's titled How to Lose Weight in 3 Simple Steps, I would never skip that video, right? Like it's all, the behavior on YouTube is so different than it is on Facebook. On Facebook, I'm just scrolling, and then you have to grab my attention, and I have to watch one video, and I have to watch a second one, I have to watch it, right? Like that's the brand awareness campaign. But then on YouTube, you can actually go straight to the direct response ad. As long as you start, like for example, the video could be something, the same 3 to 5 minute video, but you should start with, so how to lose weight in 3 simple steps. In this video, I'm going to give you step-by-step a process that you can start implementing in your life right now to improve your blah, 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 right? So at the end of that video, you can say, and if you like these strategies, I invite you to watch a full presentation where I actually give you in detail how to implement this strategy that I just shared with you, right? So if I search for how to lose weight in 3 steps, or how to lose weight, and you put this video in front of me with in-stream ads, and then now I watch a 5-minute video of yours, at the end, of course, I'm going to watch a webinar. And most likely, if I'm interested in this, I would maybe book a call or buy some of your products or whatever. But the power becomes where if I land on your page, if I land on your website or your webinar or whatever you want to promote, you can use pixels now to get people from one platform to another. So if I see a video of yours coming from YouTube when I search for something, and then you create with that pixel that you install on the page, you create an audience, and then you start showing me those ads that I talked about in the brand awareness campaign on Facebook as well. Now, like you get me, you almost put me into a trap that I'm never going to be able to get away unless I don't want to watch any of your stuff. So now you just, like, the consumer gets in the middle and you basically follow them all around the internet on all the platforms. Like that, I don't know, for some, in my opinion, that is something that if somebody actually implements this, and every time when we do it, it's like you create, in the consumer mind, you create the idea of a huge brand because they see you everywhere. Now, because they watched 15 seconds of your video on Facebook and Instagram, they're going to see you forever. Now they also search for something on YouTube and you showed something in front of them right there, like boom. And then from that, once they click on one of your pages, that's it. Like they're never going to be able to get away.
So it's good because you're finding people that need what you have to offer. Like they're the people that you are wanting to help. So now that we have that audience built, what do you suggest for building like that sales machine?
100%. So I always recommend, if this is maybe the first time doing it, or if it's at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, I always say that you should start with booking a phone call, meaning inviting people to book a call, right? You can use an app like Calendly and grab the calendar embedded code and then put it on a page and then actually invite people to book. The reason that I say that is having a conversation with somebody, like with a potential customers, is the most powerful thing that you can do, because you're going to hear their pain. Like you're going to know exactly, like you should, have a couple of questions on the application page, and application pages should be pretty easy to fill out. You don't want to put too much information. You don't want to request too much information from your customers, because at that point is going to, they're going to feel like, oh, I'm not going to fill out 20 questions. You just put a couple of them that are like super important for you, right? Like if it's something high ticket, they should answer questions like how committed they are to their health, or maybe even if you would put a price tag on your health, how much would that be, right? Like you have to be strategic with your questions. But I would highly suggest, even if it's $1,000 or less, because a lot of times I would say, all right, if the product that you're selling, it's $1,000, you can sell it to a webinar. All right, that's cool. But still, I would rather you talk to at least, 20 to 40 people. And other people will say, but I'm not a good salesperson. But think about it. You don't have to be. You just have to be yourself, because if somebody's watching or if somebody's searching for something and you're able to put a valuable piece of content in front of them, and then they actually go and watch another 30 minutes of a presentation of yours, and they decide that they want to talk to you over the phone, like you don't need to sell anything. You just basically answer a couple of questions, and at the end, like the conversation is so easy to actually enroll people. And yeah, I would never advise anybody to discount their service or product. They should at least bundle it up with more, maybe another 2-3 videos that you just put an e-cover to it, and you call it a course, even though you're not selling it anywhere else. You just, let's say, maybe you film 4 to 5 recipes, or maybe you interview 3-5 experts that you don't have the expertise in, and that becomes a product on its own. Like you just do 4 interviews. If you have 4 videos on YouTube, you can make them unlisted, put an e-cover to it. You go to smartmockups.com, you put an e-cover to it, and now you have a course that you can attach it to your coaching service. And now, that program just becomes more valuable for the consumer.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how you automate sales, because it's kind of just like if every client's asking you the same question on that phone call, you're just like giving them the interviews instead of repeating it to everybody. Is that how you're saying it's automated?
Well, no, when I say automated, I mean you should only start doing those phone conversations at first with the note if your product is anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. Now, after let's say 20 to 30 people and you have your group together and you already sold it once, now the second time you shouldn't need, because you can collect testimonial. Like everything that I share with you, it's mainly for people that have never done it before. Now, if you already been in the business for a while and you have some, or you have clients from organic strategies and you just got, you got a bunch of testimonials that you can use as proof, you don't need to do these phone calls anymore. Or you can hire somebody on commission, 10 to 15% commission on selling your on selling your program. What happens is the automation of the sales itself is the webinar process, the webinar funnel. The reason that I say that is the way to automate your sales is you build authority and credibility because you prove that you can, and I hate to say that it's a webinar, because a lot of people would think, oh, but that's the complicated way, a huge deck of full of slides. It's a slide deck of 160 slides and I'm not able to do it. Well, you can just, at first, you can start with just a video, straight head to camera, just talking about your method and your process. And then over time, you just improve that. You maybe add a slide here and there. I just want people to get things done. Now, yes, the webinar is the most powerful kind of sales machine that you can have out there, because it builds credibility, it builds authority on top of what you already do through the brand awareness campaign, right? Because the brand awareness is cool because it creates the know, like, and trust kind of method. But then, who's selling? Somebody has to sell. So the webinar will just sell it almost for you. The phone conversation enrollment, it's necessary at first. If you're just starting out, you need those conversations because people need to, you need to understand their pains and you need to understand what they actually want, so you can just sell them what they want and then deliver what they need. And then two, if you sell something that is more expensive than $2,000, well, at that point, you either decide to do the phone sales yourself or automate it through a person. When I say automated, it's basically outsourced. So if it's, $2,000 and more, you would have a closer, you would have another person that it's paid on commission, 10 to 15%. So it's not an expense, it's an investment, because that person removes you from the process. Does that make sense?
Yes. Now, behind you, is that a 2 Comma Club award that you have?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So tell me about that, because I'm just really curious about the whole sales funnel process. Yeah.
So essentially, it was the same. This is how I kind of got my first, I guess, influence in the whole game. So my entrepreneurial journey started about 6 years ago with a local brick and mortar shop. It was a total different industry, mainly just it was delivering. It was a company that was delivering furniture and essentially had a storage component to it. So the company grew pretty fast, and then a lot of people started to ask me questions. And what happened was, at first, I was just working with other local businesses. And when I started to implement the sales funnel component to it, I understood the whole power. I knew marketing and I knew, different paid ad strategies, not as powerful that what I just shared with you. But then I went back and I said, what if I actually put together an offer that can actually be viable to a different market? So for example, it was an offer that was put together mainly for realtors, bundled up with different done for you services. So the product itself was anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, and we only needed about 200 customers to be able to fulfill that. So it was the same thing. It was an application. So everything, most of the sales, I guess $1.3, $1.4 million in sales were done over the phone. one salesperson. That's it. One closer. So if it's $2,000 and more, you need the person in between because you need a phone call. No, I wouldn't just get my credit card and go online and buy something for $5,000 unless the brand is so huge. Like, for example, people like, Grant Cardone or Tony Robbins, they could be able to pull it off. It might even at that level, it's not as easy to just, purchase it online. You still need, like, even if it's a 10-minute conversation, but you just need it. So that's the same process.
That's great. Congrats on getting that.
Thank you.
Sidetrack. I saw that you got to interview Grant Cardone, and I'm a big fan of his. How was that?
Just 2 days ago. That was awesome. He's actually a pretty humble guy. It was an incredible interview. It's going to be live 2 weeks and about 2 weeks from now. And with that interview, actually a huge giveaway that I'm putting together, but I can't share anything yet.
Okay, that's exciting. Now, I literally checked yesterday. I was like, I know he just had it, but like, is it up yet? I wanted to hear it.
No, it's probably about 2 weeks. I think it's about 2 weeks. It's going to go both on my YouTube channel and on my podcast, but I mean, I'm sure you'll see it because I'll promote the heck out of it.
Awesome. So you offer the 7-figure map. How did you come up with that?
It's the same exact thing that so how did I come up with that? I was trying to understand every time when I was talking to a customer, because I was getting so pumped about the whole process and the whole system, it was hard for me to say it in one phrase for people to be able to visualize it. And that's why I don't think I have it next to me here, but because I added a couple microphones here to my desk and things. But I wanted to be able to, in one page, for people to be able to see what's the process, like what's the strategy behind it. And talking about it, actually, my wife, she's putting together a program in the beauty lash extension industry. She's like, just today when she sent me the picture, I was like, damn, this actually works in any industry. Doesn't matter what it is, this works. So she put together the same map. So how did I come up with it? It was just for my own process, for my own clients, and for my own leads to be able to, all right, here's what it is. For you to be able to see it and then to visualize it and understand, like, okay, I'm actually right here. How do I get to, like, if the map takes you from A to Z or A to B, whatever, you should be able to identify where you are and what are the pieces that you miss, right? Like, for example, one of my recent customers, Evan Carmichael, he's a huge YouTuber. He already has the brand awareness more than any of my customers. So he didn't need the brand awareness thing. He just needed a sales machine. So, you just have the different components but the map is the same. The map is the same. You just cross the things that you miss in there, and that's it.
So no matter if somebody's selling a digital or physical product, they would go to your website to check out this map?
Physical product, for an e-commerce product, it could still work. I would say you still have to add some sort of either digital component or something to make it a little more, because if not, the profit margins will go, think about it. If we were talking like the whole interview was, if you sell something that it's at least $1,000, or even if it's a little bit less, the webinar will still make sense. But if you sell something that is $30 or less, putting together a brand awareness campaign, I don't know if you'll be able to pull off the enough margins to be able to still make that happen. Now, if you sell, let's say, a travel backpack, and you are able to put together a course about how to travel to different places, or maybe you interview the biggest travel vloggers in the world and you put those into a course, and then maybe you have one of the biggest travel agencies in the world give you some discounts that people only have access to it if they are part of that membership site. Well, at that point, things can change. You could be able to pull it off. The map itself, it'll work even for an e-commerce product. I don't think it would be ideal because the brand awareness would be a little tough for something that is just $30. But if you can attach a brand to it, if you can put, a little more work into improving that offer, I mean, that will definitely work. Again, my wife was selling, in the beauty industry, lash extension services. And when I share with her this method, I'm like, your current, and actually it's pretty funny. One of her regular clients wanted to learn this, and then she said, no, I want to buy that. Well, because you put all these things in place and people are able to visualize this, it's so much easier for them to kind of identify where they are and what they miss in the whole process.
Well, I need to talk to her because I love lashes. And I saw her on your stories today. But talking about my personal brand that I'm growing or my personal business, the thing I'm asked about the most is, what do you eat? And so I really have been wanting to help people, but now I'm deciding to dip my toe into the educational setting and build a digital course on nutrition and more so my streamlined meal prep strategy. And I think I'm going to add some different bonus wellness information. So do you have any advice for the digital teaching space?
Yeah, the same thing. 5 to 10 competitors, what type of courses they sell. Right? Like ideally you want to purchase one of them to see, again, not to copy the course, but and then of course, if you're part of the same Facebook group of the same community, you'll be able to identify what people struggle with the most. So if you buy a course and then you go and join that community and you identify that actually people ask the same type of questions, but maybe the influencer that sold the course, it's not engaging enough or it's not answering the questions. Those are the things that you want to make note of so you can improve in your own way, right? But in terms of the course itself, I would never recommend you create it first and then sell it. Sell it first as a group coaching. So put together, now, especially now, because the Black Friday is right around the corner, you put together, a 50% off for the founders group, and you put together a 20-member group coaching. So you tell them that it's delivered live. That's why it's 50% off. And you only accept, 20 to 30 people. You don't want to add more because it's you want to be able to answer questions. And then what you want to do is once people start to join the offer, the group, the founders group, you tell them that they're going to be able to access those live lessons once they get recorded. So every week you deliver over the course of either 6 or 8 weeks, you deliver those lessons live. What happens is at the end of every lesson, you're going to take questions. Half an hour of just Q&A. Those questions become your lessons. People are going to start asking you the same questions on and on and on. So you identify what's the question that is the most asked. Boom. Now you're going to start. Now you're going to start creating the next lesson based on what people are asking. This way, you don't have to create something that you think people are going to buy. You're actually creating with them, and they would pay you to create it. Does that make sense? Because you add the group component, the group coaching component, people are able to, talk to each other and talk to you and have access to Q&A. So yes, at first you discount it. Number one is because it's Black Friday. Number two is because people would actually want to be part of the founders group, and you just create it with them. Like I think that's the most powerful thing that you can do. Now you still have to create the outline. You would still create a map for your own service. Like you would have the 9 things, and you just identify each stage of where people are at, and then because it's in the same scenario for you, you want to be able to communicate the same strategy in your business, in your model, but you want the consumers, you want the customers to be able to say, okay, I'm here. I'm missing all the rest 6 things. So you want to create a map for your own business as well. So yeah, creating a group, founders, almost like a founders group for it. And then once you deliver it live, now you can have the recordings of it put it together into the members area. You can use ClickFunnels or Kajabi or whatever. And then at that point you have a course ready to sell, and you know that it's selling, you know that it's going to be sold because people already paid for it. And then at that point you don't need to do weekly calls. You can just do monthly or 2 times, a month or something like that.
That's great advice. I kind of relate it to like a beta test, because their questions and learning what they actually need from you.
It's just founder sounds better. People want to be founders. They don't want to be part of a beta program, because beta means more testing. Founders mean it has the community component more attached to it in the wording.
Yeah, my email already has like join the founders. Yeah, but in my head I'm like, I'm testing what they want from me.
Yeah.
Now, I know we've talked before on Instagram, so I wanted to get your input on this. It's like a little off topic. I want to know, because I know that you do some fitness. So if you agree, I want to know whether you think fitness has impacted your entrepreneurial success, and how you think making that like a priority in your busy be your own boss life, how has that impacted you either positively or negatively towards your success as a business owner?
Every day. Every day it impacts me in a good, and it impacts me in a bad way if I'm not doing it. I try to hit the gym 7 days a week, just because even if, like, for example, maybe 4 or 5 times a week, I'm doing weights, and then the other 2 days is just cardio alone. At least have the 30 to 40 minutes kind of make the blood pumping into my veins. For example, I just tested working late and waking up a little later and then hit the gym, and I'm not able to to function well that day, versus going to bed at 9:30, 10 p.m., waking up at 5, by 6:30 being done with the gym. I'm just a total different person. And if I skip it, I almost feel guilty. Now I still have to work a little more on my diet, but it's just if I'm not going to the gym a little bit, at least to pump, to make some cardio, some weights training or something like that, I don't know, I wouldn't be able to function properly. I almost feel guilty if I don't do it at all.
Do you think it helps you with your momentum toward your business when you do get that workout in?
100%. It's just, it makes me feel, and I try to do it on an empty stomach every morning. Just have some water with me. It all depends. If I'm like really tired, I may take a pre-workout or something like that. But if I'm not doing it, I'm not the same person that day, and that affects everything that I do. It affects my communication with customers, with employees, with sometimes even with my wife. Like, I'm not in the mood to to be happy for that day. So I need a little bit of fitness in my life. Not a little bit, I guess, every day. It doesn't have to be crazy for twice a day, 2 hours each time or something like that, because we all have things to do. But no, without it, I'll be a total different bad person in a in a way that I wouldn't be able to perform the way that I want.
Well, I love that you're already successful and you're still testing ways to become better. Maybe this time works better for the gym, or maybe it didn't. So I love that you're still trying new things to just become better.
100%. And I realize because kind of my body would like to stay and work late at night, maybe up until 1 or 2 a.m. But it's just that it showed me that, dude, just go to bed and wake up in the morning and finish the day. You right? It tells me that was the biggest thing for me. I understood how my body would communicate with me and would actually tell me, if I try to work until 2 a.m. and then still wake up at 6, it doesn't work. For 4 hours a night, you can't really function, right?
That's pretty much what I've been doing, and I got to stop. I got to get back into the routine of going to bed early.
Yeah, what I learned in my journey is I've been doing that for a while, and then when I collapse, I usually it's one day that I collapse around 6 p.m. and then I sleep until next day at like 10, 11 a.m. And at that point I realized like, okay, this was the point that I gotta go back to my schedule, because hustle is good, but you have to hustle in a way that, makes you productive too. Because if you, I don't know, I guess that was for me, because I'm like, trust me, I'm like the immigrant mindset, like just work my butt off as much as I can. But it's just that I realized, and I was able to identify what is the best method for me, both lifestyle and business, to perform the best. And that took me probably like 6 years. But yeah, and I'm still improving. I'm still learning every day.
Well, I appreciate you shared a lot of information. I'm going to have to play it back myself to catch it all, because I know I have a lot of work to do now in the YouTube space. So where can we find you online if we want to follow your videos, and where can we find you?
100%. Well, because people most likely are going to listen to this episode on iTunes, my podcast it's called High End Client Acquisition, or they can just type my name, but my name will pop up under my name will pop up two podcasts, because I have one in my native language. But High End Client Acquisition is the one that I share pretty much all the strategies that I shared with you. Also interview a lot of marketers, influencers, and some celebrity entrepreneurial type of people. And then also my YouTube channel is just under my own name, Marian V Esanu. And if people want to get access to that map that you mentioned, they can go to clientacquisitionblueprint.com, and they'll be able to just download it from there.
Great. Well, thank you again so much for being here, and have a good day.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.